Consistency Turbo Ultimate Falcon deck or Raid Raptor deck. The main goal is to get Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon onto the field. Burn your opponent 4,000 damage every end phase, your end phase, and your opponent's end phase, as well as, attacking them. It's a 3500, it's not affected by other card effects. It has a once per turn during the end, you can detach a material from this card for the rest of this turn. All monsters your opponent controls will lose 1,000 attack. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards and effects cannot be activated. If this card has a Raid Raptor monster has XYZ material against this added ability, which is once per turn during the end phase, you can make all monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack. If your opponent controls no face-up monsters, that means if he has face-down monsters, you'll inflict them 1,000 damage, or if they have no monsters on their side field at all, you inflict them 1,000 damage to your opponent, and that activates during each end phase, yours and your opponent. So you'll be easily, dealing your opponent a lot of damage by getting this creature on the field. So I want to make this short. I don't want to explain too much because it should be pretty straightforward. Last Tricks has an ability where you can tribute him to special summon a Raid Raptor from your extra deck. So what you do with that is you'll summon Raid Raptor Satellite Cannon Falcon, and then you'll activate either Astro Force or you'll use Skip Force in order to rank it up into Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, and that's the main way you'll get Ultimate Falcon on the field. There's an extra creature in here you can use, an extra monster you can use, which is number 77, the 7 Sins. Just nice little 4,000. If it will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach a material so it is not destroyed by battle or that card effect. So it's another nice little option in the deck, and you don't need none of the rank up cards to summon it. All you need to do is use Last Trick's ability to summon, one of your extra copies of Ultimate Falcon, and then overlay on top of that with number 77, the 7 Sins, because you can XYZ summon this card by using a rank 10 or a rank 11 Dark XYZ monster you control, and Ultimate Falcon is a rank 10 Dark XYZ monster. So there's an easy way to get a nice little 4,000 on the field with one card. So that's just like a backup or, strategy that's in the deck. Another potential big boss is number 99 Utopic Dragon, which you can summon by discarding a rank up magic spell card, and there's 6 of them in the deck. While you control a Utopia monster, whether it's Utopia himself or Utopia the Lightning. You can use either one to summon this. You can also use the rank 1 Utopia not Prime. You can use Utopia Prime, but it's not the rank 1. Utopia Root, there you go. You can use Utopia Root. I used to do that. Use a Battle Fader and a 1-star monster overlay, make Utopia Root, discard a rank Astral Force, and then summon number 99 Utopic Dragon, which was fun to make a nice quick little 4,000 to play with. Who doesn't like a nice 4,000 attack, right? We have Raid Raptor Tribute Lanius. Its main effect is you normal summon it, whether it's normal or special, but typically I just normal summon it. Since you see there's no Call Hunter in the deck, I normal summon it. I send a Raid Raptor card from my deck to the graveyard. What I send is Mimicry Lanius. Mimicry Lanius goes to the graveyard. That turn that it goes to the graveyard, I can banish it during my main phase. In order to add a Raid Raptor monster from my deck to my hand, and the main target for that is Last Tricks, because the idea is to get Last Tricks. The whole deck revolves around Last Tricks. So those are the 9 main deck Raid Raptors. Then I got the Thunder Dragon, Thunder Seahorse, Magical Mallet, and Reload, which is part of the Consistency Turbo aspect of the deck. The Turbo element, other than the deck's design of 15 monsters, 13 spells, and 12 traps, You also have the deck thinning aspect of Thunder Seahorse and Thunder Dragon, so that will help with the turbo aspect, making the deck smaller so it'll be faster, aka turbo. And the consistency aspect is if your hand is not that good, and of course you're trying to get last tricks and you're trying to get rank up cards, and that's how you make Ultimate Falcon. And the more consistent you can do that, and the more you can guarantee you could do that every duel. Obviously, that's consistency. That's where Magical Mallet and Reload comes into play. That is the consistency part. You can try this concept out yourself. It works very, very well, and it's fun. Why not, right? It works well and it's fun. Plus, these are pretty good discard out fodder for cards like Wing Blast or whatever else you use. I don't really have anything here to discard them with. I mainly shuffle them back into the deck with Magical Mallet and Reload. So that's the usefulness, the utility they have, other than thinning out my deck, so that way when I draw a lot of my cards that I want to draw. Then I throw them back in the deck to draw into cards that I want. Of course, rank up Magic Astral Force and rank up Magic Skip Force. Obviously, that's to rank up an Exceed monster by 2 levels. I'm not going to spend time explaining their added abilities, but I will mention Skip Force can be used to potentially do an OTK if you use 1 copy of Skip Force, 1 copy Astral Force, or 2 Skip Force. It works either way as long as you have at least 1 copy of Skip Force in the graveyard. And what you want to do with that is you use Last Trick's effect to summon Revolution Falcons, which is rank 6. Then use one of your Skip Forces or any of your rank up cards, but mainly your Skip Force, to go into Satellite Cannon Falcon. And then Cannon Falcon can use this effect to obviously destroy opponent spells and traps. Then you want to use another copy of Skip Force or Astral Force to go into Ultimate Falcon. Now in that turn, because you use Last Trick's effect, you would not be able to do no damage, no battle damage, but you could do effective and no battle damage. You're not going to perform an OTK with Skip Force, with the Skip Force graveyard effect. So you'll attack with your Ultimate Falcon, make sure your opponent, to make sure your opponent don't have creatures on their side field, and then that way when you end your turn, your opponent will take 1,000. Then at the end of their turn, if they still don't have a creature on their side field, they'll take another 1,000. Or if they do have a creature, they'll lose 1,000 attack. Then on your turn, you'll banish the Skip Force with one of your Raid Raptors, more likely the Last Tricks. But this is after you do this. I forgot. Use Ultimate Falcon's ability to detach the Satellite Cannon Falcon, of course, because you need the Satellite Cannon in the graveyard in order to get Ultimate Falcon's ability of making it where your opponent can't play cards or use the effects of cards, and cards can't be activated that turn that belongs to your opponent. So your opponent will be pretty vulnerable to attacks without being able to respond, right? Then, while Satellite Cannon's in the graveyard, you use your Skip Force, banishing Last Tricks and the Skip Force to bring back Satellite Cannon onto the field. Since Satellite Cannon was properly summoned, because Skip Force and Astral Force count as actual Exceed summons, so that counts as proper summoning. Then you can special summon Satellite Cannon Falcon. Now you have a 3,000, a 3,500 on the field. That is 6,500, and if you already dealt 1,000 with its effect the following turn, and then when your opponent ended their turn, that was another 1,000, for example. That's 2,000 already. So your opponent should be at 6,000. Alright, should be at 6,000. Right now you have a 3,000, 3,500, which is 6,500, which should be enough to end your opponent out. And you can just, there's a win con right there. Icarus Attack. It's your Twin Twister. You could add obviously Twin Twister by swapping out some of these cards in your deck for Twin Twister, so that we have multiple ways of clearing back your opponent's back row. Besides, the mighty Satellite Cannon Falcon. Plus, Icarus attack is useful against destroying pendulum scales, preventing your opponent from exceed summoning, synchro summoning. You know, it's a very versatile card. You know, every creature type wish. You know, every creature type wish they had an Icarus attack. Right. It's a really good card, so it's worth playing. Red screen, defensive floodgate, counter trap, Raptor's Gust, negate spells and traps. You can also upgrade to Ultimate Providence if you want, but I use Raptor's Gust or Dark Bribe as budget options. 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Eradicate Epidemic Virus. It helps you, get rid of spells or traps in case your opponent is trap heavy, like Chain Burn or something. This would be useful. Say trap, you'll, do a good amount of damage against somebody who's playing Chain Burn, especially if you go first. And do a last tricks, Ultimate Falcon into number 77, the 7 Sins combo. Then play Eradicate Epidemic Virus, saying traps, and you should do a lot of damage that way. It's pretty decent against Paleozoics and other trap heavy decks, especially if your opponent is playing a lot of floodgates, a lot of continuous traps. This will be useful against them. Also, this could be good obviously against True Dracos and whatnot. Get rid of their traps. So it'd be harder for them to summon Masterpiece or make their Masterpiece immune to your traps, like your Icarus attack and whatnot. Warning, obviously it can just negate any type of summoning for the cost of 2,000, plus the card that has an effect, the special summons like Call Haunter or something, or Soul Charge. And it can stop Pendulum Summon, so obviously it can stop a lot of summons, so it's worth playing at least one copy of. But you could, go for 3 Solemn Strikes or Grand Horn as a budget option. It's up to you. Then we got Full Force Virus, the reverse version of the Crush Card Virus, because it does based off of defense and Monarchs. Among other decks, the monsters' defense are lower than their attacks. Their attacks tend to be higher in most decks, so obviously this is very, very good against those types of decks. Plus, it's a really good virus card. Why not use it, obviously, especially against a monster heavy deck. The fact that its effect lingers for 3 turns, why not? It's a virus trap. There's no reason not to try to play it. Soul Charge, helps you regain field presence once, in case you get Kaiju'd or something. Your Ultimate Falcon goes to graveyard and you don't have the ability to bring it back with Skip Force, you can just Soul Charge and regain field presence. A nice little combo I like to do is discard a Thunder Dragon, then add a Thunder Dragon, then discard a Thunder Dragon to add the 3rd one. Instead of just discarding 1 and then adding 2. Discard 1, then add 1, discard 1, add 1. That way I can have 2 in the graveyard so I can Soul Charge and go into Pleiades or an Artifact Rando, which obviously are pretty decent cards. They give me some field control. They got for my control plays, so I can control how the duel's gonna go and slow the duel down until I get my cards and then win. 101. Don't need to explain. Cat, Sky Blaster, spot removal. Get rid of whatever is problematic. Repsy and Berserk, get rid of whatever is problematic in the graveyard, especially for graveyard base decks. Reps Daiguster Emerald to recycle any of my main deck monsters, as well as any of my extra deck monsters. Utopia, mainly to go into the lightning in case my opponent has an Ultimate Falcon I need to get rid of, or a what's that? True Draco Masterpiece or Quasar or something problematic. I can bring out the lightning and deal with that. Plus, in general, it has a decent effect without even the power boost part. Then when it attacks, your opponent can't activate card effects. I already mentioned the Artifact Randall and Pleiades. Revolution Falcon. Mainly is so you can rank it up into a kind of like cannon. But it does have an effect. But you're not going to use it because the only time you'll summon it will be by last trick's effect, and its effect will be negated. Satellite Cannon, when it's summoned, destroy your opponent's spells and traps. So basically, it's Harpy Feather Duster, and your opponent can't respond. So it's awesome. We already talked about the Mighty Ultimate Falcon, and that's the end of the video.